Hello, my name's Annika and welcome to the Sewing Nook. In this video I'm going to be sewing a dress from a bedsheet. So the fabric for this, I actually recently thrifted it from a Goodwill, I believe. I actually have a video on that if you're interested, and I believe it was $7, which was a really good deal in my opinion. It's a king flat sheet and it's really soft actually, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out it's actually cotton. So I'm really happy about that just because it'll be more comfortable for summer. The pattern I'm going to be using is actually this self-drafted pattern that I made a few years back. It's actually very simple, and my goal for this dress is to have like a straight across neckline, simple armholes, and then 1-inch straps that go around. So it's going to be really comfortable for summer. And then the skirt, the lines are going to go straight up and down. And it's going to go maybe to about my knees, and then I would like to add a ruffle. I'm not sure how big I want the ruffle, maybe like that long, but the lines are going to be horizontal, so it kind of like breaks it up a little bit. I think that'll look really cute. And this fabric is really soft. It looks terribly wrinkly right now, so I might iron it or just leave it as is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to add pockets to it. And I'm also going to put an invisible zip in the back just to make it easier to put on and off. I have not had much experience with invisible zips. The few times I've done them, it was not the greatest of jobs. I don't struggle with regular zippers, but for some reason invisible zips are just more difficult. So I might need to look up a video on how to like properly do that. Also, if you have any tips, please let me know because I would love to hear from y'all about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm really excited about this, and I'm kind of hoping I can do it all today, but we shall see. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to cut the front on a fold, and then the back piece I'm not going to cut on a fold since I'm going to be adding the zipper. And I'm actually just going to use this same sheet for the lining. So I'm going to cut 2 of the front pieces on the fold, and then 2 of the back pieces, not on the fold, just on folded fabric. And then for the skirt, I don't really want it like super full, so I'll have to see how much I want to do on that. It's not like the skirt really doesn't matter that much because it's just 2 rectangles sewn together. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut all that out, and then I'll let you know what I did for the skirt once I'm finished. Oh, and I'm gonna cut out 4 of the pocket pieces. Okay, the fabric is so wrinkly. I think I'm gonna just tumble dry it real quick just for a few minutes, but I am gonna use that edge where there's already a hem. I'm gonna use that for the ruffles since it's the horizontal lines. Let me go tumble dry this and then I'll be back. Okay, I think that's a little bit better, I hope. So now I'm going to cut everything out. Okay, I have everything cut out now. I have the shoulder straps, the front and back pieces, the skirt, the pocket pieces, and then the ruffle. So one thing I'm not quite sure about is the shoulder straps. I had written down like years ago to cut them 7 inches and 3/4, but I kind of put it like on my shoulder and it seemed a little bit small. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's gonna work, but I'm gonna go for it, and I can always remove it. It would just kind of be a pain, but I'm still gonna go for it and just see how it goes. So now I'm gonna do the darts on the bodice, just the side darts, not the bottom ones, so that it's a little bit looser. And then on the back there are darts like going up, but I'm not gonna actually do those because I want it to be even more loose, because the last one I made, it was definitely tight fitting, and I do want this one to be like not completely tight. I just want it to be more loose so it's more comfortable. And then the skirt is, let's see, it was 27 inches long, and then it was 31 inches wide. And then the ruffle, I did not measure how long it was. It's probably, I would say, let me check. It's 9 inches long, but it already is hemmed, so I don't have to do that. So if you do have to hem it, I would just make sure that you add that in for however long you want your ruffle to be. So yeah, now I'm going to do the darts on the bodice. I'm going to serge around all of the pocket pieces or on the curved edge, and then serge on all 4 of the side pieces of my dress, and then just go from there. Oh, I'm also going to sew my shoulder pieces. I ended up cutting those 3 inches by 7 3/4 inches. So I'm going to sew those together, right sides together, and do about 1/2 of an inch. Actually, I take that back, about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So yeah, I'm going to do all that right now. Okay, I serged all the pocket pieces, did the straps, and turned them right side out using this handy tool, and then did the darts on the bodice front. I did not serge the edges of the dress yet because I wanted to add the ruffle first. So I'm going to do 2 rows of gathering stitches, gather that up to the width of the skirt, and then sew that onto both the panels right sides together, and then serge that edge, and then serge the side of the dress and of the ruffle. Hopefully that makes sense, but it should become more clear as I do it. I'm about to gather the ruffles up and attach them. I do have to cut one of these panels in half for the back panel since I'm going to be having the zipper in it, but I'm going to actually attach the ruffle first and then cut it in half and serge both of those edges as well. Okay, so I went ahead and did cut one of the panels in half and serged along all the edges. I serged on all the side edges, and I do, whenever I use a bed sheet and it already has a hem, I just unpick it a few inches and then serge down that edge so that I can sew it to my other pieces and then fold it back. So I would recommend doing that. It does take more time, but it does look better in the end. Now I'm going to give the bodice darts a good press, and the shoulder straps and the pocket pieces. I think I'm going to finish the skirt and then start working on the bodice. So the next step is to place the pockets right sides together, and I'm going to do mine 5 inches down. Typically I would do it 4 inches, but this is a little bit of a higher waistline. So I'm going to do these 5 inches down, and that's right sides together. I forgot that I usually don't serge this edge until I place the pocket piece here, but since I did forget, I'm just going to serge the pocket piece and then sew it, like I said, right sides together along the edge. I'm going to do it on this edge, that edge, and then on one of these smaller pieces sides, and then on the other smaller piece on the other side. There's only a few steps left for the skirt, so I've already pinned the 2 back pieces right sides together to the front piece, and I've pinned around the pockets like that. So now I'm going to go and sew along both of these side seams going around the pocket, and then I'm going to add 2 rows of gathering stitches along the top and then start working on the bodice. My skirt is now complete and ready for me to attach to the bodice, so now I'm going to get working on that. For the bodice, it is going to be fully lined and it's going to have an invisible zip. Like I mentioned before, I have not really had much experience with invisible zips, but I did watch a few videos and I think I got the concept down. I'm not going to go in a real in-depth tutorial just because I'm new to this and there's so many other videos that you can check out and learn more about it. But what I am going to do to start for the lining, these are the 4 back pieces. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space for the zipper, like that. And then I'm just going to sew along the top and armhole, not along the sides, just the top and armhole on both of these. Before I sew that, I am going to top stitch along the 2 longer sides of my straps and then place the strap inside right at the end by the armhole, and then sew that in as I'm sewing along the top. Now I'm going to clip this corner and clip the curved edges and then turn it right side out. I'm going to give it a press and then do all those same steps for my main bodice piece. Okay, it is looking amazing, and now I'm just deciding if I want to sew these together now along the side seams, or if I want to put the zipper in and then sew them on the side seams. I'm not sure. Okay, I actually am going to go ahead and sew the sides together because then I need to sew the skirt to this before I attach the zipper, because the zipper will go partially in the skirt. The way that you do it to sew them together is you open up both sides of the lining like that. So this is the back pieces and the front pieces, and I match them at the underarm seam, and then I'm going to sew along that entire edge on both sides. Then I'm going to gather up my skirt to the width of my bodice piece and sew it together. Okay, it is coming along so nicely. Now I'm going to gather the skirt up to the length of the bodice, and I'm actually going to just sew it right sides together and then serge it, so there will be a serged edge. I don't really want to take the time to do the right sides together and then fold the lining in and put that. I just don't really want to do it. I did this on another dress way back, and I actually didn't mind how it came out at all. Like I kind of liked it. So that's how I'm going to do it, but you can do it the other way where you sew it just on the right side and then you fold the lining about 1/4 of an inch towards the wrong side and then end up sewing that onto it. I'm just not going to be doing that. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I think I am going to shorten my invisible zipper. I'll do this and then line it up and see where I want it to sit, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to shorten it just a little bit. Okay, so I did decide to seam rip just a little bit right here so that whenever I put the zipper in, it's just going to be on the right side and then the lining will be on the top. And I'll have to figure out how I want to attach it right here once I do that. But real quick, I'm going to give the skirt a nice press and then work on that zipper. Okay, so I do want to cut my zipper a little bit. I only want it to go about maybe 4 inches past the skirt. And I did iron my zipper like they showed. Again, I'm not going to really show that much what I do because I don't know if this is even going to work out right, but we shall see. Okay, I'm going to cut it right about here, and I am going to use my pinking shears just so it does have a finished edge. Oh, and I did look through my box of all my different pressure feet, and I did find one that was for invisible zippers, which I did not know that I have. This is what mine looks like, so that the zipper can go right in between there. But I would definitely check and see if you have one. If you don't, they did say that you could just use a zipper foot. So worst case, I would just use that. I am going to zigzag stitch a little higher up and make it so that you can't go past there, like a little stop for the zipper. So it's kind of hard to explain, but this is the right side, this is the lining. And I do need the right side to be attached to the skirt so that I can sew the zipper onto that. So I'm going to attach this and just leave the lining off. So I'm going to do that on both sides. I'm going to pin my zipper right sides together onto my front piece, the teeth of the zipper pointing that way. I'm going to pin that together and then sew it as far as I can. And then do the same for the other side. And then I'll see about the lining after I do that. Alright, here's what it's looking like. Now let's see if it lines up. Ooh. Actually, that looks really good. Okay, it's not completely straight, but that's totally fine. Look at that. That's actually pretty good. Man. Wow, I'm very happy with how that turned out. Now I'm going to sew the lining to it, or sew the lining right sides together. It's hard to explain, but like I said, watch a video on it, it really does help. So now I'm gonna sew the lining and then reattach the lining down here by the zipper, and then my dress will be done. Alright, the last two things I need to do are sew the back of the skirt together, the zipper ends, all the way down. And again, I left a little bit, I left it open, so I'm going to sew that together. And then fold it up and just sew right here to make the hem nice. And then the very last step is to top stitch around the entire neckline, starting from one end of the zipper, going all the way around by the arm seams, all the way, and then ending at the other end of the zipper. My dress will be complete. I love how this dress turned out so much, and I love it because I can wear it in the summer and it's light and cool, and then I could also just throw on a turtleneck and have it for the colder months as well. Let me know what you think, if you would do anything different or if you would make a dress similar to this one. And if you're interested in more sewing tutorials like this one, definitely check out my other videos. Give it a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already.